In today's society, American animation dominates the market. Pixar, Disney, DreamWorks, even Universal Animation. But in 1989, a small British company in Bristol created Aardman Animations and gave us Wallace and Gromit: A Grande Out, a stop-motion animated short film, and even throughout the years gave us plenty more projects. I finally realised on this channel I haven't talked about the closest animation company close to home, with the first 3 main Wallace and Gromit short films: A Grande Out, The Wrong Trousers, and A Close Shave. Just to say that this video is only for the first 3 short films, so a video on Curse of the Were-Rabbit will have its own special video. But watching these films got me thinking, what made Wallace and Gromit so special in an animated market which to this day is heavily dominated by Americans? How did a little tip-top British company break through and get noticed? Hello, it's me, the Average Critic, and make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos, and let's talk about Wallace and Gromit: British animation versus American animation. For this video, I will be using Stephen Fry's speech for references about comedy differences between American and British culture, American optimism, and British reality. Let's start at the beginning with A Grande Out, which, if explained to anyone who has never seen Wallace and Gromit, sounds like the most ridiculous plot ever. A man travels to the moon to get some cheese in a rocket with his dog. This is where, in my opinion, the difference between American animation will differ to British animations. The Americans would have had Wallace travel for heroic reasons on a grander scale. If he is going to travel to the moon, then he would do it for out-of-this-world reasons, and you would support him. Wallace, however, in the most British way, goes to the moon because he has ran out of cheese. It's late at night, he can't go to Tesco, he can't wait until morning, and so he's the everyday man doing something for personal and practical reasons. That's the British reality. He does something grand for silly and weird reasons. Even to the design of the rocket. Wallace creates a rocket in his basement, but still makes sure he has his armchair and a toaster for the journey. And at the same time, Gromit is by his side, reminding us how dim-witted Wallace is. Wallace and Gromit love each other, but at the same time get so irritated with each other. Gromit helps Wallace build the rocket because he kind of has no other choice. In fact, you could argue if Gromit didn't help Wallace with the rocket, he would have failed, as Gromit is the smartest character in the room. Everything down to Wallace forgetting the crackers, the absurdity of Wallace guessing what moon cheese tastes like, and a robot vending machine being on the moon is a parody of classic tropes. The Americans would have placed the smartest person on the moon and do something heroic or say something funny. If SpongeBob went to the moon, which he nearly did in an episode, he would recognize that he is on the moon, and the gesture of being on the moon is a wonderful and brilliant thing. Wallace, however, gets on the moon and decides to have a picnic because he isn't fazed by it. It's like another day in the park to him. We then move on to the second outing in The Wrong Trousers, which is a full-blown parody of British culture poking fun at American culture. It's a heist foil movie with an evil villain who, without saying a word, makes you feel on edge. Feathers McGraw, yes, he has a name, is the silent villain who is a rip of any classic American bad guy. Even the thunderclap as he rubs his hands together, he might as well be doing an evil laugh. Even the score feels so much darker and more grand. It's straight out of a Hitchcock movie. This movie actually scared me a little bit as a kid, with lighting and music being at the forefront of the reason. Shadows go over characters' faces, huge crescendos of music give the film the American scale of things of being bigger and bolder. But at the same time, the villain is a penguin and Wallace doesn't even recognize him when he takes the rubber glove off. Wallace once again giving the audience the harsh British reality as he is unfazed by all the events. The audience follow Gromit seeing Feathers McGraw for who he is. Mixing Wallace's sense of bewilderment to every situation brings the whole story to ground level and leads to some hilarious moments. Even the train chase, of course, is a classic parody, as train chases have been used in cinema for decades. But instead, it's a toy train, with Wallace embarrassing himself in every conceivable way. They also break the rule of chase music, which is usually much more serious and dramatic, and decide to go for out-and-out comedy music to give a sense of fun and whimsical side which plays to the British style of humour Wallace and Gromit have. So the music is comical but played with a large brass orchestra, grand scaling the whole sequence up, once again turning the whole scene on its head to hilarious delight. And of course, for their third adventure in A Close Shave, Wallace and Gromit parody themselves even more, starting with what I like to call the Thunderbird sequence. Wallace slides into the walls of his house, making a very over-the-top sequence of getting ready. I want to compare this beauty of a sequence to another Wallace and Gromit scene in Curse of the Were-Rabbit, where they do pretty much the exact same thing. Into the walls of the house, sliding down contraptions and machinery. But what are the differences between this scene and this scene? First, the music. In A Close Shave, we have this bellowing horn section where the music is much more heroic and dramatic. In Curse of the Were-Rabbit, the music is more lively and exciting, giving a sense of family adventure. The second one being, in Curse of the Were-Rabbit, Gromit joins Wallace throughout the whole sequence. He is also going through the walls, down the slides, whereas in A Close Shave, he simply walks through a door. The look he gives sums it all up perfectly. I'm not saying this to drag Curse of the Were-Rabbit down, but this sequence is the superior one. Wallace and Gromit have always had the relationship of Gromit, a dog, being the smartest one in the room. Wallace has the authority of being his owner, but Gromit has the brains. This is where the humour comes from. Wallace trying to be this cool action hero, even though he is nothing but a window cleaner, and Gromit bringing the audience back down to reality. In American humour, the funny character in his world is maybe cool or good looking and the smartest person in the room, and if he isn't, he usually has something along the lines of a cool job or good looks. In British humour, our lead character is dorky looking, doesn't have a cool job, and not the smartest person. Once again giving us the harsh British reality compared to something like the American optimism. American culture cheers for the hero trying to do something brave, and British culture is cheering for the loser doing something stupid. All of this is confirmed with a character like Gromit, who without saying a word tells the audience how to feel. Take a show like SpongeBob. When SpongeBob is doing something dim-witted and over the top, we have a character like Patrick cheering him on and supporting him. The American character has a supporting character telling us even though he is doing something idiotic, we support his decision because he is validating his choice. British characters don't support the main characters. They look away, feel embarrassed, and try not to get involved. So how did Wallace and Gromit still stand out with American cartoons being absolutely everywhere? Well, aside from amazing voice acting, beautiful stop-motion animation, and perfect characters, I think there is this witty sense of British reality humour that comes from these stories. I want to thank Now You See It's video British comedy versus American comedy What's the Difference for giving me a lot of inspiration for this video, as that video was incredibly helpful. And for the record, I'm not saying that British humour is smarter than American humour, or that the two don't even ever intertwine. But Wallace and Gromit managed to stand out at the time by giving us something completely different. And despite me not being patriotic in any way, it makes me really proud that this little animation company could be something so big. So after all that, it gets my professional rating of 9 out of 10. It gets one less point as I am grouping them all as a whole, and so they all have their own individual flaws. But it gets my personal rating of 10 out of 10. Wallace and Gromit is a mark of British culture and is an inspiration to animators everywhere. So thank you for joining me in this video. Let me know in the comment section below, especially if you aren't from the UK, what do you think of Wallace and Gromit? Does it work outside of Europe? Do you guys get it? I'm really very curious, as I know a great number of my views come from the USA, and I'm really curious if you guys over there actually kind of know about Wallace and Gromit or even find it enjoyable. Also, if you haven't already, now is a good time to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a single video, check me out on Instagram and Twitter. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.